will be on my wall.
What a freaking what a giant.
If you have a limited amount of property to hunt, there's quite a few things that apply to how to hunt it. Access, in and out. You can't overhunt. It may keep you from being able to hunt as many days as you would on a larger property. But the key to hunting on small properties is the quality of each hunt. So you have to be conscientious of wind. You have to be conscientious of bedding areas. That means you have to do a whole lot of homework in the off season. And depending on whether you're a state that allows baiting or not, you know, you really have to strategically plan your hunts, and you have to make sure that you're making the least amount of impact when you go in and out. Deer pattern us more than we pattern them. And when that becomes the case, especially on a small property, you're going to lose.
I hunt an area in Ohio, it's actually southern Ohio, Adams and Highland County. These are premier counties in Ohio for big whitetails. It's very different terrain from northern Ohio, rolling hills, lots of crop ground, lots of big deep cover, a lot of state conservancies, so we have a lot protecting our big deer. A few years ago, the farm that I live on, I decided that I really wanted to kind of be more involved with QDMA. I really wanted the deer herd to be healthy, not just grow bigger bucks, but also have healthier does, healthier fawns. And doing this also is involving a lot of work and food plots, and basically just started with grain, and that evolved into having green plots, clover, perennial plots that I don't have to maintain every year. Overall, it's been an absolute awesome farm that's turned out even greater. We just finished with this plot. We got about a ½ acre to 3/4 of an acre clover plot, and it's about a 40-acre pine grove, a cedar grove. All of these deer use it, transition from one big woods to the next. It's a perfect spot. This year I decided that I wanted to add a little extra work, and we made it what it is. There was never this opening here. So Brandon, my buddy, came down. He actually films me during the year, and he came down and worked the ground for me. We just spread seed, just pressed it, and thunder's rolling behind us. We knew rain was coming, so couldn't have worked out more perfect. We're gonna get a few other things done, and we'll be back in a month.
Your odor is betraying you. It's ruining your hunt, pressuring your property, and killing your opportunities. This year, let nothing stand between you and your best season ever. Deploy a steady stream of odor-destroying molecules every second of every hour of every hunt with Ozonics. Available only at OzonicsHunting.com.
It's October 8th, and
just popped up a blind, brushed it into my cornfield. I have 2 acres of beans, soybeans, completely secluded by corn. And this is the deepest part of the property. Butts up to a kind of a nature reserve that can't be touched. All of the deer pour off that ridge. Right now I got in way early just to make sure. Brushed in the blind. I shouldn't have any issue with deer seeing me, but I get a good north wind. We just had that front blow through. Pretty disappointed I didn't get a hunt last night because the wind was actually strange. It was out of the east, and I have not one property, not one stand to hunt for an east wind. So we're gonna sit tight. Deer should start moving pretty soon.
Ohio season usually starts late September. I really didn't hit it hard until about the first or second week of October, but it was just one buck after another, just mature deer after mature deer. It was really hard to put a finger on what deer I wanted to kill, but it slowly kind of panned out. The deer kind of separated a little bit, but I had some great deer this year on camera. Ocho's a deer that he's pretty unique. He only shows up about 5 to 7 days during late October. It's usually the 20th through the 25th, 21st through the 26th in that time frame. You will not see that deer again until late season. He comes in, picks up his first doe, and leaves. Yeah, things were looking pretty good in Ohio. You know, last bit of October, the bucks are starting to move more, the older deer becoming more visible, and actually all of us guys communicate pretty well during the rut, and Bill happened to send me a text that day, and he also was in the action in Kansas.
Our title sponsor is West Houston Archery, and Brian Langston owns West Houston Archery. He is an amazing hunter and a trophy hunter, and if there's anybody out there at all that manages right, he's definitely one that does that. I have seen Brian Langston actually pass 150, 60-inch deer and actually be targeting a 140, 30, 40-inch 8 or 9-year-old deer. It's impressive. And he invited me to come out and hunt his place in Kansas this last year. Leading up to the Kansas hunt with Brian, Langston, he'd sent me pictures of deer, you know, that had been on his farms in previous years, and deer that were on the farm, you know, prior to me coming. And he's got 160, 70 deer on that property. And of course, sitting in the stand the first evening, we're just glad to be there, you know, and we're watching birds, squirrels, etc. And about an hour before dark, you know, maybe a little bit before what we would call magic time, I see a buck moving in the brush, and this is a great deer. I mean, he's, in my opinion, maybe an upper 40s, low 50s deer. And of course, that gets your blood pumping, and he's coming our way. One of the great things about Brian Langston is he is brutally honest. The guy is going to cut no corners. He's going to go straight to the point. When we show him the footage, the first thing he says to me is, "Dude, you should have shot that deer." That's the biggest deer we've had on trail camera for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And of course, my first expression was, wow. After the first day, we had great encounters. Some days were really good, other days were not so good, which was kind of indicative of what we'd seen through the whole rut cycle in the Midwest. It was a trickle rut. It was probably one of the worst trickle ruts I've ever seen. Even though in Kansas we were experiencing a trickle rut where certain days would be great and other days would just seem like there was no deer movement because the bucks were doed up, other parts of the country was having significant success.
Skinny 10 was a buck that he also showed up during the rut. He was not a resident deer. He came there to do his breeding and would leave. He wouldn't even show up late season. So I kind of got on this deer a couple years ago. As a 3-year-old, I knew he was going to be 5 this year, but he just never packed that mass on. He was always just a perfect, typical 10-point. He had a few little kickers, but just a beautiful deer. That's how he got his name, Skinny 10.
It's November 5th. This is actually the 3rd through the 5th is usually my favorite time to hunt. We're in southern Ohio, sitting on standing beans, bush hog corn, and it's all overseeded in rye. We just had a warm front blow through. The deer are pounding this green field right now. We have a couple good bucks in the area, one in particular, but we're just gonna keep our fingers crossed. There's so many does in here every night. There's liable to be a 5-year-old that comes cruising through here to pick one up. It's just now getting good. We're gonna get quiet. Deer will start moving here soon.
The night started, we had 6 does come in, a few smaller bucks. Those smaller bucks started to spar out in the field. And I'm a 100% firm believer that's what drug Skinny 10 off the ridge. He came right off the draw, straight to me.
Golly, what a freaking giant. God damn. Alright. I don't know if I had that on frame or not. But that might be the biggest deer, hopefully he dies, that I ever kill. Oh my God. He was at 30. I've ranged this field 100 times, and I had to draw quick. What a giant. Oh my God. What an awesome deer.
After the shot on Skinny 10, he wheeled around out of the field, and I knew my shot was back. I'm kind of hoping that I got, the back of the liver. I was very hopeful. He ended up making a complete circle. I heard him in on the ridge behind me, and he had to jump a huge fence that they have up. It's about a 6-foot fence. I heard that fence, and I kind of figured he was probably around that area. All right, today is November 6th. I had shot this buck last night, and we knew the shot was back. You can obviously see the hole right here. We did get guts. I'm not sure. I'm yet to field dress the deer. We just recovered him. We had to make multiple calls to landowners, the game conservancy on the backside of our property. It's been a mess since last night about 7, 8 o'clock. So the recovery portion is very short. One of the landowners requested not to be on film, so they were with us when we recovered this deer. But overall, a great 5-year-old deer. Not much history with him. 2 days ago, I had an encounter with him locked down with the doe. All morning long, fought off multiple bucks, and he kind of proved himself as being the dominant deer in the area. So overall, couldn't be happier. Tags punched in Ohio. Skinny 10 was an awesome buck to harvest. With it being self-filmed, me having an encounter with him 2 days prior, having history with him, and I did want that smaller mass genetic out of the farm. I just thought this was a perfect deer for the year. It kind of capped off, a buck parade that I like to call, and I can't wait to get after Ocho next year.